This is Miracle Healings, and I'm Leslie Williams. Crohn disease. If you ever heard about it, or if you're dealing with, or if you know someone that is struggling with Crohn disease, and also if you have an episode of a near-death experience, know someone, or even are just interested and hear a story of a near-death experience, today's show is for you because I have the beautiful and the survivor Heather Summers with me today. Welcome to the show, Heather.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, I'm so happy to have you in the show today.
Thank you for
Your
having me.
story is so incredible. And
Oh,
I
thank
will ask you to start right away because
you
there's so much to share.
so much. Yeah, okay. So I will start right from the beginning, from the diagnosis of Crohn's disease. So I think I want to start with explaining what that is for people that don't know.
Yes, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So Crohn's disease is classified as an autoimmune condition, and what that means is that it's in conventional medicine they say it's the immune system is attacking itself. So it just means it creates chronic inflammation that eventually causes degeneration of the organ that it's attacking. So for me, it was the small intestine, part of the small intestine. Um, so yeah, so it's an inflammatory bowel condition as well, and also it's hereditary. So my grandmother, she had an inflammatory bowel disease, and then through the
Oh.
line, it passed to me.
Mhm.
So I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease about, I'm trying to think now, almost 10 years ago now. So I'm nearly 36, so I was 26
Mhm.
when I was diagnosed. And I just remember being really, really sick and going to the hospital and
Mhm.
being in there for a couple of days with stomach pains. And it felt like my appendix was bursting, but I'd already had that removed. And I was like, this is what is happening to me? Like, this is so weird. And then
Right.
the doctors came round and they said, we think you've got Crohn's. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And they told me pretty much how I've just explained it. And then when they
And
left, yeah,
what
sorry.
were the symptoms that you were having? Just if we have some viewers or listeners
Yeah.
that.
So I was just getting really, at the time, I was just getting really, really bad pain in my lower abdomen.
Mhm.
Um, and struggling to go to the toilet,
Mhm.
and just feeling really, really unwell, like feeling like I was like ill, like a flu.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then this pain in my stomach as well. So part of me thought I had maybe had like gastro. Um,
Mhm.
but I think I was quite lucky because I think because I ended up in hospital, I got diagnosed quite quickly. A lot of people can go years without a diagnosis, even. They can be going
Oh,
around and they can be saying it's IBS or they don't know.
right.
It can take some people quite a long time to get a diagnosis, which is really, sad as well.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so going back to the time in the hospital when they said, we think you've got Crohn's, you have to have the test. So they did scans and they put me through a colonoscopy, which is where you have the camera, and
Mhm.
they diagnosed me. And then I remember at the time seeing the paperwork because I'm nosy, and I had a look at, and it said on there terminal illness, and that for me, that was like, no way,
Wow. So
yeah.
how you felt when you read that? What was the feeling?
I was just like, no way. I was just like, I'm not having it.
Right. You were
Yeah,
amazed. You were in shock.
completely. Because, I was in my, if you like to say, like 26 in your prime, having,
Right.
going out with friends, having the best time, and then suddenly you just get like a brick wall
Mhm.
hits you and you get told that you've got this illness and you're just like, no way. Um, so in the beginning, I would say that I was definitely in denial.
You could
Because
not accept.
no way. I couldn't accept that I had
Mhm.
something wrong with me. Um, because I just always felt like I had such a vibrant life ahead of me. So I was like,
Right.
yeah. So I was just like, this can't be right. Like, surely I've got so much to
Right.
do. I didn't know my path at the time, but I definitely felt like I was supposed to do lots of different things, whatever that was supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah, so I was in huge denial. I remember that I wasn't taking my medication,
Mhm.
and just like hoping that it would go away, and obviously that didn't work.
Mhm.
So eventually, like, I caved and ended up taking the medication. And we should talk about that as well, because that was the next challenge. Because with an autoimmune condition, they first of all put you on steroids,
Right.
whi- yeah, which can have lots of complications.
So, yeah, so many
So
side
many,
effects.
so many side effects of steroids. And it can also be very dangerous to the stomach lining as well. That can
Right.
affect the stomach lining, which was
Mhm.
kind of baffled me as well. And then also on top of that, they put you on immunosuppressants. So whilst your immune system you know, isn't high enough that it's attacking your bowel, it's also not
Mhm.
working to support you in any other aspect of your body either.
Right.
So I spent lots of time. I had to have I think it was so long ago now, but I had to have like monthly blood tests to check that I wasn't getting too sick. Um,
Mhm.
so there was monthly blood tests. I spent a lot of my time feeling really, really drained and just exhausted. Um,
A lot of fatigue.
Loads of fatigue. Just with the medication, yeah, I wasn't getting the inflammation and the pain, but there was all these other side effects that I was having as a
Right.
result of my immune system, which
Plus all the emotions of have to do with it.
it consumes
Um,
your whole life. You know, once you get told that you've got a condition that can, because they tell you that there's no cure, so that's imprinted then into your brain. It's like part of your
right.
program.
And
Yeah,
according to how it is your belief systems and how we are mentally and emotionally when we
yeah.
receive news like that, it can be even worse,
Well, this is
right?
it, and this is what happens is I see a lot of people in the Crohn's community
Mhm.
that they've just accepted that's their fate now. That's it, and they're just my heart breaks because these people that accepted that diagnosis that you're never going to heal from this. That's just
Right.
become a part of their programming now, and they totally embody that, and you can see that because they've just kind of given up, and it's like they're existing. They're not thriving. They're just people. When you end up with that kind of diagnosis, you just end up existing, and
Right.
that's a really heartbreaking thing to see. And I know it's a hard challenge as well. It's so detrimental to someone's health to tell them that there's nothing that can be done. That's one of the worst
Right.
things
Yeah,
to do.
because it's, as we said before, according to your state of mind, you you are basically without any chances to have hope. So totally hopeless in hearing that.
Yeah,
And I think what you were sharing is very important because if someone is dealing with it right now, there's always a way.
yeah, and
We
we'll
need
get
to
to that. Yeah,
find,
yeah,
right, that
100%.
place here and here, but there's always a way if we believe.
Yeah. So throughout all of this, that was always in the back of my mind. But actually, no, not even in the back of my mind. At the forefront of everything that was happening, I was always like, there has to be another way. Like that's all that kept coming to me was there has to be something else other than what I've been given. There has to be a way. And this is really after a couple of years in the UK of toing and throwing with taking my medications, not taking my medications, really
Mm-hmm.
not knowing where to turn, and ending up back in hospital a few times, actually a lot. I think it became my second home. Um, and
So that would you consider that was your gut, that it has to be a
my
way some.
intuition, yeah, 100%. I didn't know this at the time because I wouldn't say that I was that much of a spiritual person then. I am now, because of
Mhm.
everything that's happened. But at the time, I didn't know that. But I thought it was just because I was stubborn, and I was like, there has to be another way to this.
What a
And
wonderful stubbornness to have.
Thankfully, yeah. I think it's definitely done me well in the end. To have that, just wanting to do things my own way and just being like, oh, there has to be some other way of doing things. So
Right. I think that also is important to think, um, if no one can do for us what we need to do for us. No one can take care of us, like we should. No one is gonna do. So that was kind of the
yeah,
message, right? That
yeah.
you were
Exactly
receiving.
that, and it's not giving our power away, and that's in
Right.
any aspect of life, to medicine, to other people, to anything.
Yes.
It's realizing that it's within us, and this was like the start of that journey of taking the power back, really, and that's what it.
Yes.
So yeah, so
Yes.
like my philosophies now, self love, which we'll get to,
Hmm.
and really taking your power back and understanding that we all, every single one of us, has the power to heal.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, every single one of us. And so I suppose that, so going with that in mind, saying there has to be another way, there has to be another way. And I
Hmm.
even questioned the doctors, and I was like, surely nutrition. This is when I started to think about. So this is when I started to wake up to nutrition, okay? Because I didn't really give
Right.
much thought to food until this happened. I just ate what I wanted, and the UK is very fatty in its diet. Um,
Hmm.
like fried food and chips and stuff. Um, and I remember saying to the doctor, like, surely diet would help. Like, if I changed my diet, would that help? And they were like, not really. No, just take the tablets and you can eat what you want. And I was just like, that's when I started scratching my head because I was like,
How is
no.
that
Yeah, I
possible?
know. I was like, what? Like, even, come on. So at that point, that's when I started looking into diet. So I
Hmm.
started looking, yeah, so I started looking into diet, and then I came to Australia so this is where I live now. I came out on a working holiday visa, and coming here, there's so much fresh fruit and vegetables, and it
Right.
really got me interested in a plant-based diet.
Hmm.
So I actually went vegan for 8 months. I was completely vegan for a period of 8 months, and in that
So
time,
let me ask you something. When it comes to nutrition, what was that you shift to start to use the nutrition to build your immune system, to, elevate your immune system?
yeah.
What
So
did
I
you
mean,
do?
so at the time, I think that I just started watching lots of videos where people were just talking about whole food diets. So that just literally
Hmm.
means taking all of the processed foods out of your diet and cooking whole
Fresh.
foods, going back to basics and
Right.
just cooking those wholesome, whole cooked meals. And that's what I do with my practice now. And so that's where I began really, and I started cooking meals, and I started like looking into anti-inflammatory foods as well, and
Hmm.
um, those healing substances, turmeric and ginger.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I am a vegetarian myself, and I do a lot of juice a
mm,
lot. Yeah, and it's yeah, all this food has fresh food has everything we need
I
to
know,
never get sick,
I
right?
know, I know, and that's just it, and that is just it. And this is where I really discovered that food is medicine, because that's what I started doing as well. As I started doing the juicing and the smoothies and
Hmm.
putting, celery, because celery's got so many anti-inflammatory
Yeah.
benefits, so I started doing all these things, and the inflammation went away for such a long time. And I thought, cracked it, I'm healed. Done. Like, I found a way. But alas, that wasn't it, because that's just one element to healing. Okay, so nutrition
Right.
is for a chronic condition,
Exactly.
yeah, or an autoimmune condition. Your diet, yes, that is definitely something that you need to address. And
Absolutely. I mean, I think even if we don't have any conditions, it's a recipe for a longevity, right?
100%, we should all. I mean, at the end of the day, why would you wouldn't put diesel into a petrol car? So why would you put fuel that doesn't work into something in your work that doesn't fuel your
Exactly.
body? You want
Yeah,
to. have more energy and you want to have vitality and you want to sleep well at night, and food affects all of these things.
Exactly. And you started to feel all these things, more energy, more.
I felt amazing. I felt amazing. For 8 months, like I said, I thought I cracked it. I was like, I felt amazing. I was off
Mhm.
I took myself off of the medication. Um, and then so yeah, for a long time I was like, this is it, I've done it, I've cracked it. This is, and also I was out in Australia, and I think having the sunshine, that
Right.
vitamin D
Another
also,
environment,
yeah,
nature.
environmental factors, no stress because I wasn't working at the time. It was just holiday, like you were just on a long holiday. So that's another aspect as well as the stress
The
factor.
stress.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Vitamin D. A lot of people that have autoimmune conditions are very low in vitamin D. So
Hmm.
that's something that gets
Lack
missed
of
a lot.
sun, lack of,
Yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes, and low cholesterol as well. So if your cholesterol's too low, they can't go through the skin. So you need cholesterol. And
Yeah.
sometimes people have cholesterol they don't talk about it, but they have cholesterol that's too low.
Hmm.
So the two factors you would need to get that vitamin D from the sun. So these kind of factors were all working with each other to really boost my vitality and make me feel so much better.
Hmm.
But then after a period of time, the, the pain started to come back. And again, I went through the denial and I was like, no way is this happening again. Like I thought that I'd found the holy grail to heal myself, and I was
Hmm.
preaching about it. And I'd also signed up to do my degree as a naturopath. So at that time, I was like going in that direction of herbal medicine, and this is where that journey began. Um,
Hmm.
but then, so then I started to get all this pain, and this was in the January of 2017. That's
Hmm.
yeah. And I was just in denial about that, and I knew deep down that it was the Crohn's flaring up, but I was just like, oh, I just didn't want to admit it.
So
And then
you didn't went to the doctor for a while? How?
no, for 2 months I was just ignoring this, and I was like,
Hmm.
just I was just so upset internally that this was still
Right.
occurring. Um, and I ended
So
up,
you were upset, probably frustrated, and
yeah, which was,
yeah.
now I know as well, because your nervous system has a massive impact. Now I know that that was adding to that, which at the time I didn't know, because I just thought it was all dietary and it was all to do with the gut. I didn't realize
Mhm.
the holism that is included, which I know
Yes.
now because I'm a naturopath, that was included with a chronic condition like that.
Mhm.
So it was just lack of knowledge that I didn't know, and
Right.
this is why knowledge is power.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm. So then, um, and then I ended up in hospital, and this is where I had the operation. This is where the near-death experience occurred.
Mm.
So I ended up in hospital, and the doctors came to see me, and they said, "There's nothing we can do for this now. You're going to have part of your bowel removed." And I was very sick. I think I was something like 45 kilos, and
Wow.
yeah, I couldn't eat. I was in so much pain, and I was like, that's how I ended up there, because I was like, I can't do this to myself anymore.
So you end up rushing to the emergency room because due to the conditions you were.
Because I took myself to the emergency room and I was like, I've got Crohn's, it's flared up, I need help. Like admitting that point, I was like, I really need help now.
Right.
So yeah, they told me, they was like, it's so damaged, we need to take it away. And they said, they explained to me what they were going to do, and they were going to take away 70 well, they didn't know at the time, but they said there's quite a bit of your bowel to take away, and it turned out to be 70 centimeters, which I think is like a third.
Mhm.
um and they said you're going to have a bag for a period of time, a ileostomy bag that you wear on your stomach. And then once that's healed, we can put you back together.
Mhm.
And I was just like devastated, obviously, just so
Right.
upset, but so sick. I was just like, whatever, like just stop this pain.
And at this point, emotionally, probably you were drained and tired, right?
Yeah, I had nothing left. I had nothing left, and I was just like, I just
Mm.
need, like, I don't care anymore. I just need someone to help me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
And you
then
asked for help. You went to the,
yeah,
you asked.
I finally asked for help. Yeah, which is another thing to learn. Yeah,
and you received.
yeah, exactly that. So then that's when I had the operation, and that's when I had the near death experience. Um, and it was that I was so I was in the I was having the operation, and the vision that I had, or what I saw, was I saw myself in that room, but I wasn't in my body. I could see my body on the table, but I was like stood in the room,
Uh-huh.
and there was. It sounds crazy. No, it sounds
No,
crazy,
it's
but
not.
but there was all these other like things from different realms in the room, and
Mm-hmm.
there was just like these mythical creatures, and then there was, I looked around and there was this angel, and it really really tall, just glowing, just could feel this strength coming from them, and they took my hand and they took me to a door, and I could see this door, and it had a white light coming from underneath it, and I tried to turn the handle and it was locked, and the angel turned around. Oh, it's giving me goosebumps talking about it. The angel turned around to me and said, "It's not your time. You've got work to do." And then I said
Wow.
goodbye. And I said goodbye and went and got back into my body and woke up.
So, any feelings of love? This
Yeah,
contact. What do you feel? Do you remember any feelings? How it was?
yeah. I remember that I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared, and that
Love.
I wanted to go through the door, and it was just like, no, you have work to do. And I was like, but it was loving. It was just like, you've got work to do on this planet. And I was just like, oh, okay. And then,
Did you
yeah,
feel secure, trust,
all
peace?
of those things. Yeah. Yeah. All of those things. Just unconditional love, which is
Love. Yes.
love, which is, now I know that's
Yes.
essentially what we are, is pure loving vibration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you were, so this experience also, um, it, I think, help you to believe that life exists in all kinds of forms, not only in this body, right?
Yes, 100%. Like, I always had a feeling that we had a soul, and I
Mm.
always had this appreciation for life after death.
Yes.
But it wasn't until that point that I was like, oh, okay, this is actually real. This is real. And seeing other people's stories, people have been told the same things, they've seen the same thing as me, and I'm like, this, everyone can't all be seeing something imaginary that's the same thing.
Right.
And coming back, I had
Yes.
this whole new belief, because when I was healing in the hospital, because I was in there for quite a few weeks, I just had this sheer determination. I was like in my hospital bed, like doing my assignments for uni, and the doctors coming around being like, are you okay?" Like, I was like, I've got work to do. And they were just like, you just had like a really
So
serious element.
when you woke up from the
Mm.
surgery, you had the memory and you were already feeling like this way? You have energy and love and trust and
Yeah, because I told the nurse that was in the room with me. I was trying to tell her. I told her the story, and she just like palmed it off, and she just went, "Oh yeah, we give people really cool drugs in here." And I was
really?
yeah. And I was like, no, that's not what it was. Yeah, I just knew. I just had this knowing, and I was like, this is it now. This is my mission. This is making me even more determined to, one, heal, and then show others that they can do the same. That was it. I knew that that was part of my journey. Yeah, I just knew. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, I spent the next year healing myself, and
Mhm.
getting my main focus at that time was to just get my body back together, because I knew that all the time that I had the bag, I couldn't
Mhm.
I couldn't heal, because it's unless your body's functioning 100%, you just can't. you can't. Once they start taking organs away from you, it's really hard.
Mhm.
It's really hard. So that was a
But
whole
at
year.
that point, you had that trust, right,
Yeah, yeah.
inside of you. So,
100%. That was why I was like determination was there, and that's why I was like, my goal is to get better, to finish uni, to understand the holistic part of illness. Um, and that was like my sheer goal, and that's really what drove me, what kept me going through that time, because it was a really hard time, like mentally and emotionally, to get through.
mhm,
So much was
mhm.
changing. I couldn't put on weight. I was like nutritionally, I was just so drained. I was great because my electrolytes were all out as well. um I was craving like fruit all the time, and then
Right,
yeah. So like my body was just saying like you need sugar and you need salt, and um
right.
it was just such a, anyone that's got a bag or has experienced it, like it's the hardest thing. It really is a really difficult thing
Mhm.
to go through. But so yeah, it was my faith.
But see how important is the nutrition, because if you hadn't had that shift before, probably you crave for some other sugar, right?
Yeah. Or burgers,
Right?
or that kind of processed thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so
Yeah.
important to, it's better to crave for fruits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Than than anything else that can even harm you, right?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So I was putting all the good things into my body,
Hmm.
and just trying to keep myself as well as I physically could with what I had going on. So I 100% agree with that. If I didn't know what I knew about nutrition at that time, I don't think I would have got through it as well as I did. Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure, for sure. So that is like, food is medicine, and that is definitely the building block for everything.
Yes,
That is the start. I know
yes.
that we've said that already, but that is definitely where we need to start when it comes to true healing and true health is with food.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's huge. Um, so yeah, they finally did they call it a reversal. So they finally did
Uh-huh.
that after 9 months, and I was put back together. Uh, yeah, so they put me back together, and then that's where the real healing began. And
Mhm.
so we, so just knowing that I had a lot more to learn, and this is when I discovered about the emotional aspect, the emotional part that's the connection between your physical ailments and your emotional conditions. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, and discovering, and this is something that I don't think that a lot of people know about or understand,
Yeah.
that the nervous system component with an autoimmune disease is, they talk about the gut brain connection and, emotions. And this is something that is huge. So it's the triggers now. So that's what I started learning next, is the triggers for the flare ups were actually emotional and came from anxiety and stress and fear based.
And
So that,
anger and fear and all those
yeah,
emotions and feelings that that we feel in our gut. When we
yeah,
are angry, we feel in the navel chakra, which is all those dense emotions.
exactly. And and especially that's why I think that women also experience this more than men, because we hold more here than
Yes.
than our male counterparts. So, and it's higher. Um, just talking just for a second about, also there's, all of our chakras hold different emotions if they're blocked.
Hmm.
So that this is like fear based. So if you've got fear that is like residing in here and it's not being
Yes.
cleared, then it's going to cause
Exactly.
a condition.
It's just accumulated density and draining the energy from all the organs, all the tissues, all the cells, and the chakra.
Yeah, that's correct. And so clearing that energetically is what will then clear the physical aspects. And this is,
So when you found out that, what happened then? You realize, okay, my emotions.
So I actually went and got help because at the time I was like, this I believe is beyond me. Like this is more than my capabilities at this time because this is still 3 years ago. So I actually found someone who works with spirit, and they work on an energetic level, and they also did past life regression. So and ancestral lines, and like through your parents as well. So that connection through your parents, this is where the genetic side of things comes from. So throughout, I think I had like a year's worth of sessions with this lady, who really helped me to understand where my emotional triggers were coming from.
Right.
Huge connection with my mum. And since then, I've done a lot of research into understanding childhood trauma and
Yes.
and autoimmune conditions. So there's that storage from your childhood. Again, it's storing the emotions in your body from the trauma
Yes.
from your childhood.
Yes.
Um, that that can switch that gene on as well.
Yeah. And
Mm.
because we carry all the energy with us. I'm a theta healer. Never. I don't know if you ever heard about theta healing, but theta healing basically works in the level of subconscious mind, taking the client to a theta state. When we are kids, and even kids from 0 to 7 years of age, we are navigating theta. So everything that is said to a child, it's download in the subconscious mind, and it leads to issues
Yeah,
in
100%.
adult life, right? And also, all those belief systems and emotions can be passed through the DNA. It's
100%.
already proved,
Yeah.
right?
So that's it. That's 100% correct. And it would make sense why this is a genetic illness, right? This is an illness that gets passed on through the generations because the emotions therefore get passed on through the generations.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so there was a lot of clearing of that, of
Mm-hmm.
fear-based fear-based lives, fear-based childhood,
Mm-hmm.
fear-based family lines, all of these things
Mm-hmm.
and these triggers would, and now what would happen is, I was what I didn't realize as well throughout my whole life, I was just running on my nervous system my whole life. And I didn't even know that.
It was unconscious because it is totally unconscious.
Yeah, yeah. And
Uh-huh.
that was it. And I didn't know. And I didn't know what anxiety was until I
Mm-hmm.
learned, I was taught about it, and I was like, oh, so that's that's what I've been dealing with my whole life. Yes,
Uh-huh.
and that connection there between the two, and then so bringing that kind of together, with Crohn's disease, you're looking at obviously the stomach is, or the intestine is where the symptom is, okay, but
Mm-hmm.
as I understand it now with the holistic training that I've done, is you're looking for the root cause, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
cause.
Yeah, the root cause of illness, and that's what we should be looking at with
Mhm.
all illness. Uh,
Exactly, because we are whole. We are not only this body,
yeah, exactly. We're
right?
not only this body, but we're also not. It's been broken down so much that they're just in conventional medicine, we're just targeting one area. Oh, you've got a problem with the liver, we're just going to target
Yeah,
that, or we're just going
yeah,
to target the small intestine, and it it's more than that. Even on just the physical level, there's different aspects to our bodies that all work in synergy that should be looked at. And then
exactly,
then you're looking at mind, body, spirit, and then
exactly.
they
And
have to
it's
be
all connected.
yes, yeah, 100%. And that's really what I understand now and truly believe is that if you want to have optimal health, where you're thriving and you're vibrating at a higher level, you have to have all of those in balance.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Because there is connect. It's everything connected, as we said. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. If we, as long as we don't have them aligned,
yeah,
an alignment with our thoughts, our belief systems, and which generate our emotions and feelings, we
yeah.
will have issues.
Well, that's
right? And
exactly
with
it.
time, it ended up having developing a physical issue because it's so many years of the same belief system that is, as you said, is unconscious and it's dragging energy and is sending all the density to that
Yeah.
part of the body.
Well, and also you need to think about like the actual the physical components of that is when the negative thought or stress is actually causing your adrenaline to run at a higher level. So when
Yeah.
you're in, and then if you're living that, if you're in stress mode, then you're in fight or flight mode. And if
Yes,
you're living,
exactly.
yeah, and if you're living every single day in that mode, then what's going to happen? You can't digest. You can't digest food when you're in fight or flight because our bodies are designed, if they're in fight or flight, it's because of when we were, cavemen and we were meant to run away from tigers.
Yes,
And,
exactly. To survive, in survival
yeah,
mode,
survival mode. And that's
like a
it.
prey running from a lion or something.
Exactly. So we were, and if you're in that survival mode, which is what is happening when you're in fear based mode,
Yes.
then you can't digest food, you're not going to sleep
And
properly.
you have all these chemicals being sent to the body.
That's it.
It's survival mode. Imagine all day, every day, someone very stressed, allowing the world outside to control and being.
Yeah.
So that's
That's it.
the that's what we're doing with the body.
Exactly, and that's exactly, and this is where this, what I came to after I had my healing with my wonderful, wonderful lady that helped me so much. Thank thank God for her.
Yeah.
Um, then I started to do the research on my own, started to do my own practice, spiritual practice, and really getting to know who I am as a healer. And this is where I really understand, which is what you're talking about, is that everything comes from within, and
Yes.
we have to we have to really understand that we have to understand that we need to project our own loving energy out, and not allow the external negative influences to affect us internally, because if
Exactly.
you do that, then you're fighting a losing battle. But once you understand that everything firstly should be an act of self-love, and
Yeah.
if you ask yourself daily, actually I've just been following Teal Swan's what would someone that loved themselves do, and if you ask that
Hmm.
question every single day, it can actually help you build yourself to a point where you're doing loving acts of kindness, and that is,
Yeah.
for yourself. And it's not about being selfish, it's about
No.
self, you know looking,
It's
taking
love
care of.
yourself
That's it.
completely. Have compassion for ourselves, and love ourselves, accepting ourselves the way we are, caring for ourselves. There's nothing selfish in that.
No, there
So
isn't.
at this moment when you were with your beautiful lady and discovering all this, um, how was your faith? Were you
Through the
discovering it?
through-
Were you?
I just knew that there was something greater than me. First of all, I I I just had this knowing that, okay, so not only I was like giving this as a challenge or as a path so that I could help others. So my faith
Mhm.
in, you can call it God or you can call it the universe or whatever it was massive. And this is the
Yeah,
whole
and
love.
you had that experience. Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, exactly. And just the whole, now I don't doubt. I never doubt the plan. Like I always trust the plan where, something goes in a direction that I don't think is going my way, and I'm like, well, this is obviously the way that it's supposed to go. So I have a lot of trust in that
And
possibility
it's
there.
surrender because,
Yeah,
yes,
that.
you surrender and you trust in the plan.
Yeah, that's it. And just knowing, and then also trusting my gut. This is the other thing that I
Mhm.
wanted to mention, is that now this feeling that I get in my stomach when something is wrong, which is the feeling that I used to get with the Crohn's disease, I now use it as my
Yeah.
superpower. It's now like if I feel that, I'm like, no, I'm not supposed to do that because my stomach is literally telling
Yeah.
me now. So that's a superpower for me that I learned from having the Crohn's, is like, oh, okay, that means that I'm not in alignment with myself now. And I get
Hmm.
back into alignment, and then that feeling goes away.
And that feeling is also listening to you,
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
to your own truth.
Yeah, exactly. And never doubting yourself. Like it's 100% true that you should always trust your intuition and listen to that because it's one of the strongest things that we have inside of us. And every time that I've ignored it, something's gone
Yeah,
wrong.
it's always like this. It's always like this
100%.
because we attract who we are. So if we are ignoring the signs, we're going to attract the opposite.
Exactly. And then, to go a little bit deeper than that, we can talk about the way that we talk to ourselves internally as well. It's our self talk. If you've got loving thoughts towards yourself, that is really what's going to heal because by talking to yourself in a way that's loving, that will heal your cells. That heals you internally. But if you're criticizing yourself every day, again, that's going to be damaging to yourself internally as well. So it's, that's that law of attraction. That's the internal self love again. Coming back to that.
So what happened after all that when you were healed and then
Yeah. So that finished after about a year of working together, and
Mhm.
then I was still doing my degree. And then I finished my degree as a naturopath a year ago. So I'm fully qualified now. I'm healed, so I don't have any issues. I've never had a flare up since. And I feel, and I now I'm just out to help others heal in the same way. Like I want to show them and help them to understand that they can do the same. But it's not outside of us. There isn't. We definitely have the power within us to heal. We are
Yeah,
powerful beings, and
exactly. We absolutely are.
yeah,
And and then all this struggle and everything that you went so bravely because you were very brave when you
mm,
decided, no, there must be something that I have that I can do, right? There
yeah,
must
yeah.
something. You also have all that courage. So now this beautiful result, you can not only share it with the world, but you can give hope to
Yeah.
others that are going through the same situation.
And that's really what I want to do. I just want other people to realize that there is hope and there isn't just the diagnosis of it being terminal. They can change it around but you have to be determined. That's the thing. It's not. I think one of the problems is that people want a quick fix. This is one of the
Yes,
problems with healing is that people don't realize that it takes time
it
and it's
does.
I think the paradigm that we live in is that you take a pill, it makes you feel better, and people think that that's
But
how it works.
it's
And it's
just a mask, right?
exactly well, you're just sticking a band-aid on it, right?
Yeah.
So
And it doesn't go, as you said before, it doesn't go to the cause. And to go to the cause, it will take time.
it does take time, and then there's that healing in reverse. So when you start to heal all the emotions, it's linear. So when you start to heal all these
Mhm.
emotions, these old emotions will start coming up again, and
Yes.
these these different aspects of yourself that were like buried will come to the surface. But it's the most liberating thing that you will ever do with your life. It's
Exactly,
truly
exactly,
heal. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
that is
Yeah, it's it's the path to our truth. And as you mentioned that, oh, just take a pill and and poof, because there's a lot of fear to deal with all that, to
yeah.
deal with ourselves, to look inwards and find all the stuff that we don't want to see,
Well,
right?
that's exactly it because you can't heal for avoidance. You can't. It's
Exactly,
impossible.
exactly.
Yeah.
You
You
have
have to
to
look
face.
at yourself and you have to face those shadows, those dark parts of yourself that really need that needs the healing the most. They're the parts that you have to love the most in order to
Yes,
heal.
yeah,
It's the same, yeah, it's the same with chronic conditions, it's the same with an addiction. Those areas of ourselves that need the most love are the ones that you really have to look at and deal with. You can't
yeah.
heal anything from avoidance. So really the first step, I would say the first step to starting this type of healing journey would be mindset. Is changing, is having that mindset to say I can do this, and having that mantra saying there has to be a better way, because I think that was my driving force in the beginning.
Mhm. Yeah,
Sure.
and you also took responsibility,
Yes.
right? For your
Yeah.
life, for yourself, for what you were going through. When you said that, I think taking responsibility and, as you said, gaining the power back. When we
Yeah.
take responsibility, we gain our power back. Okay, now it's on me. I will do it. You know?
100%. That's so true. And it is that, taking that power back, and nobody else is gonna heal you. No one else is really gonna help you. Like, the power is completely within you to do. You can get help along the way and guidance, and that is, you absolutely have that right to have help, and that's why healers are on this planet. But what we're really here for is to teach, is to give people that knowledge so that they can do the work for themselves, and that is the whole purpose of us being here, I believe, is to help each other to gain the knowledge so that we
Yeah.
can empower ourselves.
Yeah, I think heal ourselves, right?
Yeah.
As you did, I did too. I think, and then be able to be an instrument and serve, like it's your purpose, as you said,
Yeah.
serve others, and because we can do it. As you are, you are the evidence that we can do everything we want. And yes, it's going to be times that are hard, that we struggle, and we need patience, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely need patience, but just knowing that you can literally do anything you set your mind to. This is the
Yes,
strongest. This is the strongest thing. This and this. If you can get these two working together, then
exactly. Yeah,
then it's a game
yeah,
changer.
create a coherence in between heart and mind, and it's very important to achieve all that. And did you do meditation, any practice that helped you?
Yes, I completely forgot, actually. Like, yoga and meditation. Actually, I found, actually, I would say, saved me so many times. I think without
Mhm.
the practice of yoga, I definitely wouldn't be the calmer person that I am today, because every time I bring it back to the mat and I become present there. I've been practicing yoga for as long as my diagnosis has been. That really did set me up to live in the present moment, and
Mm.
the power of now. To
Yes.
to not look too far into the future and not worry about the past, because
Mhm.
it's only really here that's relevant, and what we can do in the present moment is what is going to help us for our future. So yoga really taught me that, and then meditation as well. And yeah, meditation. I probably don't meditate as much as I should, but I do meditate
Mhm.
when I can. But it's very important to connect with yourself and your higher self. And I do Reiki as well. So
Oh, Reiki is wonderful.
yeah,
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 I'm a
yeah.
Reiki
So,
practitioner as well. So
yeah,
see, that's what the healing, as we mentioned, the whole. So heal the body with the right nutrition, with exercise. Yoga brings this connection, not only the exercise, the body, but this connection within, with yourself in the moment, and be present with us, right? The
yeah.
meditation to heal the mind, right? And look at you.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is that the journey really never ends, because once you get over the illness, then it's like, then you're just moving up, but then you're going to a state of optimal health and wellness, and just being, just going through those. I don't know how to describe it, but going through those, the I don't know if you want to say, like, raising the vibration, if you like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
of optimal health and wellness, and then you get to a stage where you're so in alignment that you have so much to give, and this is the service to others, and this is
Mhm.
what I believe is what we're really here for on the planet, is to be of
Yes.
service to each other. And
Yeah. And
So
then
once
we're serving the divine when we serve
that's it.
others as well,
Yeah,
right? Just being the instrument for the
100%.
divine to do it what it needs to do, right?
Yeah,
That's
and
beautiful.
that's really beautiful. So it's like you're working, the divine's working through you to
Mm-hmm.
help others, and then we're all divine, and then it just it
Yes.
just raises to consciousness, which is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the life lesson after all this?
Oh wow. The life lesson. The life lesson was definitely to, what we've already discussed is knowing that we are the creators of our reality and our lives and our health.
Mhm.
Um, that nobody can take your power away, it's yours. And once you have that boundary and you say no to certain things, then it makes you stronger. The power of no is really strong.
Yes.
So, and also when you say no to things that are wrong for you, the things that are right for you just show up, and that happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, and just really like taking care of yourself, like understanding what it means to take care of yourself. Um, and that is like your diet, so not just the food that you eat, but the things that you watch and listen to, so what you're going to watch on TV,
Yes.
yeah, if you really want, because if you're connected to fear all the time, I don't believe that you can truly be healthy.
Yeah.
You is just having that divine love and feeling that
Hmm.
within. So that was a huge
Yeah.
lesson for me, because I didn't always know what that was. So
Hmm. Hmm.
there's a
Well,
lot of
you
lessons.
you have a wonderful experience.
Yeah, it taught me a
Yes.
lot. It taught me a lot
To
about life.
yeah. And if what would you say after all this incredible journey to the message that you can leave to our audience?
The message that I want to give to the audience is that there's always another way. There's always another way when it comes to healing, and that just, I know it's hard, but just the don't accept the role that you've been given, and have trust and listen to yourself and have trust that things will get better. Um, and search for people that have been through the same things, and people that can help you, that can truly help you heal. Is
Mhm.
definitely like, look for alternatives, because I spent years looking for alternatives. It wasn't just like an overnight thing. I had different healers throughout the time that I would try, and I just never
Mhm.
gave up. Never give up. Actually, it's like the whole thing of that is never ever give up. Um,
That's,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's wow. So after all this, would you say that life is beautiful?
life is amazing. Oh my god.
Ah! I
Life is
love that.
absolutely stunning, and I see the beauty in everything every day, every single day. And it's definitely made me more present, and just loving the human experience and loving being human now, and all the beauty that comes with that, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Heather, thank you so much for
You're
sharing
welcome.
all your beauty and your incredible story. I know for sure that all the listeners and the viewers will be very motivated because it's incredible. Thank you so much for being
No,
the
you're
show.
welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks,
Miracle Healings can be found at www.theselfaudits.com. On Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, look for The Self Odyssey. And if you would like to get in touch with me and share your story, or if you know someone that would like to share their story, get in touch with me via Leslie at theselfaudits.com. And don't forget, life is beautiful.